Welcome to our channel. Today we're wading into the muck of a topic that's about as straightforward as a game of Twister in a hurricane public trust in politicians. Specifically, why recent polls suggest Kamala Harris is considered more trustworthy than Donald Trump when it comes to the US economy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that like saying water is wetter than a desert? And you wouldn't be entirely wrong. But buckle up, because we're going on a wild ride through economic policies, public statements, and maybe even a tweet or two. By the end, you might just start questioning everything you thought you knew about trust, economics, and the general state of, well, everything. Stay tuned. So let's address the elephant, or perhaps more accurately, the donkey and the, whatever the hell Trump's spirit animal is, in the room. Recent polls show a significant chunk of Americans trust Kamala Harris more than Donald Trump on the economy. This, despite the fact that the economy is about as easy to understand as the instructions for building IKEA furniture in a blackout. But before we dive into the why, let's acknowledge the who. Who are these people putting their faith in Harris? Are they economists with a penchant for sensible fiscal policy? Or are they just people who find her general demeanor less likely to trigger a national crisis via Twitter? The truth, as always, is likely somewhere in the messy middle. Comparing Harris and Trump on trust means looking at their economic policies. It's like comparing a Michelin-starred chef to a raccoon. Both handle food, but the results differ. Harris focuses on fairness and equitable growth. Think raising the minimum wage and investing in education. Trump, tariffs and tax cuts for the wealthy, declaring bankruptcy on multiple casinos. Let's be honest, the media's role in shaping public opinion is about as subtle as a sledgehammer in a china shop. But when it comes to Harris and Trump, the coverage has been interesting, to say the least. On the one hand, you have Harris, who often gets portrayed as competent but perhaps a bit too cautious. Think boring but reliable, like a Toyota Corolla, if Toyota Corollas were constantly being analyzed by political pundits. Then there's Trump, who's treated less like a politician and more like a reality TV star who accidentally became president. Every tweet, every gaffe, every nonsensical rant about windmills causing cancer, it's all covered with a mixture of morbid fascination and abject horror. Now let's talk about the people behind the polls, the ones actually living through these economic policies. When it comes to trust in Harris versus Trump, demographics play a huge role. It's probably not surprising that women, people of color, and younger generations, groups who often bear the brunt of economic inequality, are more likely to trust Harris's approach. They've seen firsthand how policies that favor the wealthy rarely trickle down to the rest of us. On the other hand, Trump's base, largely white, older, and often nostalgic for a time when things seemed simpler, read whiter and more male-dominated, may be more forgiving of his economic blunders. Or maybe they're just holding out for that wall to magically boost the GDP. To understand why Harris might be seen as more trustworthy on the economy, it's helpful to compare her approach to, well, every other economic approach in recent history. On the one hand, you have the trickle-down theory, beloved by Republicans, championed by Trump. The idea is that if you give enough tax breaks to the wealthy, the benefits will trickle down to the rest of us. Harris, on the other hand, seems to favor a more bottom-up approach. Investing in education, healthcare, and infrastructure might just be the economic defibrillator this country needs. So, what does all this mean for the future? Well, if Harris continues to be seen as a steady hand on the economic tiller, it could have a significant impact on everything from job growth to the stock market. People tend to invest, both financially and emotionally, in leaders they trust. And right now, a lot of Americans are looking at the economic landscape, littered with the wreckage of Trump's policies, and feeling decidedly uneasy. Whether Harris can truly turn the tide remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, in a world where economic anxiety is as common as a Starbucks on every corner, trust might just be the most valuable currency of all. So, there you have it, a deep dive into the murky waters of public trust, economic policy, and why Kamala Harris might just be the reassuring voice America needs right now. Look, I'm not saying she's going to solve all our problems. Governing is hard, the economy is complicated, and frankly, after the last few years, I wouldn't be surprised if a meteor hit the Earth and we all had to start bartering for canned goods. But if we've learned anything, it's that trust matters. And in these uncertain times, that might just be the most valuable commodity of all. Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. See you next time.